Hello, hello. How's everybody tonight? I hope you can hear me loud and clear on this last Sunday of February. Yeah, February just sort of flew by. Um, Rooftops of America live stream. So, David, good evening to you as well. Nice to have you here. So it's been quite 2 weeks. Um, I was almost halfway tempted to. Hey, Jess, how are you doing? Hello, glad you're here. 2 weeks ago, as I was wrapping up, I realized, I might have to fly out to San Antonio super early on Monday morning on the 26th. And yeah, I'm not really worried about that anymore because that trip and workshop got canceled. So I don't have to worry about flying to San Antonio. So I'm a little dismayed. I was looking forward to some enjoyable barbecue and Tex-Mex and hanging out with some friends, and I think that would have been a good time. But unfortunately, that is no longer in the works. So the good news is I don't have to rush through this tonight or push it off a day. What else has been going on? Well, big news is New Hampshire's done, totally finished. I've got it. I'm looking at it in the corner of my screen, ready to go. Upload to YouTube. You'll be able to find that particular episode um, on Leap Day. I figured, normally I push them off to like the first or, the weekend after the first, depending on how they usually wrap. But I figure since February 29th only comes around every 4 years, why not post it on Leap Day? So, New Hampshire is done. It was sort of funny going through it again, and I'm pleased with it. Um, Considering I shot it myself over 2 days, over a weekend there, I'm happy with the end product. But it's like most things. I see it and I'm like, I probably should have did that, and I probably should have did that. But overall, I think it came out well. I'm happy with it. I'm looking forward to you guys seeing it on Thursday, the 29th of February. So, and with that in mind, if Eric's not on yet, but uh, he'll be happy to know that I'm fully invested in getting Utah done through March. So that is my big March plan, is to finally get Kings Peak, finally get Utah out the door. So a lot to happen there. And what else happened? Oh, this was probably the most exciting thing that I did over the past 2 weeks. Was on Friday night, I got to sit down and talk with Lauren Toner on her Trail Talks podcast and talk about highpointing. And that was super fun. If you guys have not checked out her stuff, Lauren Toner, Trail Talks, I'll put a link in the description of this when I post it. But that's, you know what? I'll also put it in the chat quick. Lauren Toner, Trail Talks. So, some of you high pointers out there that might want to talk to, share your story, she is a good person to reach out to get that. She's very interested in your high pointing stories, and she's a high pointer herself, and really easy to talk to. So, highly recommend checking her out. So, and then I guess my episode is supposed to drop pretty soon, apparently. So record it and out the door. Unlike, clearly she is not how I do work, where it's like, oh, I filmed that half a year ago or over a year and a half ago, and I still haven't got it out the door. But yeah, so check her stuff out. Let's see what else is going on. Sketching out ideas for how this year is really going to shape up, how things are going to look. Things are becoming a little more real as we go into March. I'm really starting to hammer out the schedule. I know Hood's not going to happen. I've thought about replacing it with the Dunes in, in Colorado in April, though looking at my schedule now, that might not happen. Um, it's funny. Work keeps getting in the way of my high pointing adventures. So, fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. We'll see how that shakes out. Because I would really like to get back to Colorado and hang out with some friends, go see some really cool stuff, go see those sand dunes. But I think, my goal, we talked about this beginning. I've really settled like if this will be a successful year if I get 3 new high points. I was more bold and brazen before, but I feel if I can walk away with 3, it will be a successful year. Everything else is icing on the cake. So, and those 3 are going to be New York, Maine, and either Whitney or Bora. Um, Speaking of Mount Whitney, if you have not put your stuff in for the lottery, the clock is ticking. You have just a few days left. You have till next Friday, March 1st. You got to put your stuff in for the reservation for the lottery. So let that be a friendly reminder. And I'm got my stuff in, and we will see how it shakes out. Have been goose eggs the last couple of years. Maybe this year will be a hit. So that would be awesome. Whitney's one of these peaks where it's like, I know it's there. I really want to do it. I think I've had that planned out in my mind on how Whitney would look, because it's not just Whitney. I want to bookend and do at the same around the same time film the basement of the country down in Death Valley. Do a dedicated episode just for that too. Which, speaking of which, I don't know if you guys have seen this over the course of the week, but apparently, because there has been so much rain, Badwater Basin is got standing water right now, enough for folks to actually kayak. It's an ancient lake bed anyway, Lake Manly, but there is enough rainfall that has fallen that there is now a foot of standing water. And as Loverfishy says in the chat, they're expecting it to stick around for a while. So that's pretty cool. If you guys can get a chance in the near future, I'd love to hear your stories if you get a chance to go out there and see it. Because while it will stick around for a while, I doubt it will make it through the summer season. Who knows? Maybe it will. It would be pretty wild to see something like that. So the other big thing, of course, that I'm seeing a lot of traffic on these days is people talking about the eclipse and the track it's going to take over. I feel if I'm going to be going to chase the eclipse, I probably won't be doing it on a high point, at least not a state high point. We'll see what's available. I'll probably stay in Pennsylvania or the lower part of New York. Terrible ideas for Katahdin. Don't be discouraged if you can't get a reservation. Just show up, park it at 4 or 5 a.m. and wait till they open. You probably be given a permit. Yeah, I've actually been figuring out my plan of attack for Katahdin. The other thing I've heard people recommend, and if anybody has done this, I'd love to know, is that you go into the one day for camping, you overnight at the campsite, you climb it the following day, and then you vacate. So if anybody's done that, I would be curious to hear your experiences. But yeah, I've heard various times too, people have talked about showing up at the gate at 3 a.m. and just chilling out and waiting. Same thing, So I'm my ace in the hole a couple of years ago is I actually had a friend who was living in Portland, Maine, and because they were a Maine resident, they have special privileges for Baxter and stuff like that. And I was hoping, like, I'd be like, well, that would have been my route in, but unfortunately, they moved out of the state a couple of years ago, so I no longer have that connection. Tonight's um, beverage of choice is out of Wisconsin, New Glarus. They're Edel Pills. Little taste of home that my brother brought back when he was there back in November. It's not a bad beer. It's not as crisp as I prefer my Pilsners, but it's decent. So if you are in Wisconsin, this is one of their wasn't one of their year rounders though, so I don't even think you can find it on the shelves now. Right now, how they do things seasonally there. But if you do get a chance, it is decent. Check it out. And there you go, David. Once again, nice golden color, keeps a good head. Yeah, like I said, it's definitely the German style of Pilsner than the Czech. So you get that earthy tone a little bit more. I just wish it was just a tad bit more crisp. So, but not bad. And hey, it's New Glarus, so I'm never gonna I am never going to say no to a bottle of New Glarus. I think I'd take away my Wisconsin card if I said no to New Glarus. But so how are you all doing? Anybody got big plans for February 29th, even though it's on a Thursday? I did Katahdin twice, but both were from Roaring Brook Trailhead. No camping, both without any prior reservation, showing up early. That's awesome. I'll take it. We're gonna make a cake of all things. This will be Magnus's, the kid's, second leap day, and the first one we made this 4-color cake, and that was a hit. And we're gonna do it again. So, because hey, it's February 29th. What better day to have cake than the day that only comes around every 4 years? So, looking forward to it. A lot of fun. And since I won't be in San Antonio, I don't have to worry about missing it. Yeah, other things coming up. We're doing spring break at the end of March, and over that time frame, I think I'm going to try to refilm one of two things. Either going to refilm Alabama or Missouri. So go down there for the week, and since I will be basically off, I'm going to, one of those two. I haven't quite figured out which one. Alabama is the closer of the two to where we'll be staying, but Missouri has been one of these long time ones. I think it was the third thing I ever filmed, and there's so much I just did not cover. There were so many good stories I could have gotten in Missouri if I just would have. If I was the way I do things today, the way I was doing things that would have been July of 2016. So, wow, almost 8 years ago. That's crazy when I think about that. Hey, Eric, thanks for being here. Good to see you. CTOS, I will see work is getting in the way this year. I would love to see TTOS. Yep. I don't have any plans for the day, but 3-3, I attempt Adams and Madison. I already got very cool. Very cool. Eric, didn't you just try or pull off a winter ascent of Mount Washington? Never fishy. Work for me. Hopefully some fun time in April or May for some travel and fun. No specific plans yet. Well, I shall keep you posted, Jess, about how things, if things can get hammered out for Colorado in April. So, but yes, so Alabama or Missouri. Alabama would probably be the easier of two to run off for a day and refilm it. Hopefully I get better weather than the last time I was there, where it was sort of all fogged in. But you get what you get. So that said, I still think I will. I'll get Missouri again at some point in time. If not this summer, then definitely next summer. So it would be awesome, actually, to go. If I really want to rebag Missouri, the time to go would be in the spring, because then Minnesauk Falls will actually probably be flowing, and that looks. I've seen it when it's flowing. It's actually awesome. It's not so awesome when it's all dried up. My friend and I attempted to summit Mount Washington. We made it to the shelter just above 5,000 feet. My friend called it quits. Hey, that's a tough. That's a good effort, man. I and the mountain will always be there if you want to go give it another run. So good on you guys for making the smart call and turning back. So it's funny, one of the facts that sticks with me was more people have died per vertical foot on Mount Washington than any peak in the world. And that just is unbelievable. Yeah, Mount Washington winter's no joke. Next year's summit. Yeah, you could say that. Like, well, Eric, when you do make that run for it, man, keep me posted. I will see you off. I might not go with you, but I would consider sitting down, waiting with the cooler, waiting with the hot coffee and cocoa and the ice cold beer. So, but no, hey Bill, nice for you to be here. Thanks for stopping in. But yeah, so if I'd go back and do Alabama, I think what I'd like to do is, once again, expand the story a little bit more, get a little more immersed in the Talladegas. There's some good stories there. I feel that, that was another one where I was right on the threshold of being able to blow it out to something bigger. I just didn't. So, and plus, I really would look forward to going back to Horseshoe Bend, the military history park there. So that is a fascinating battle site. Highly recommend that if you are ever in that area and you have that time to head on down there and check that out. It's about 45 miles to the south, I think, of Chia State Park. So definitely worth checking out. But yeah, so that's the immediate plan for March. Eric, I don't think you were on when I first mentioned this, but with New Hampshire now being completely done, my goal this March is to wrap up Utah. That's it. That's the focus. Get that done, get that published. So I'm pretty pleased with how we're going with that. A couple days after we hiked the Boston Globe Puff Shop, about an 11-hour rescue of a guy we saw on the trail. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. It's a peak, man. That really is a wild peak. I even, as I was going through editing that episode, I think when you guys see it, you're gonna laugh because the conditions throughout this episode are variable, to say the like, you never know what you're gonna get. So, but yeah. And let's see what else is going on for us immediately here. Did not get my hike in this weekend like I had wanted to. I've been battling a bit of the seasonal funk. So I decided to take a day Summer 2023, Mount Washington, perpetually in the clouds. Yes, that was my Mount Washington experience on both days. Was being wrapped in the clouds. Um, but it's just what you get. So I'm gonna try to pick it up and get a start getting a little bit more um, hiking time in, getting ready for the bigger peaks. Another thing you may have noticed that's going to start coming out on the off weeks when there isn't big content being dropped is the new series of shorts. I put one out actually last week on Wisconsin. Um, and I'm going to be putting those out as we go forward. So get a live stream, get a short, get a live stream, get a main issue of or main something large. Slowly start going through that. I figured, it's another way. Considering how I see my son consume content, I feel that expanding more into the shorts realm is probably a good idea. I've got plenty of material, and hey, if they play better and they drive more people to the bigger stuff, it's a win. So I hope you guys at least there'll be 1 minute 5 fast facts about state high points, and even then when I did the Wisconsin one, there's more than 5 facts buried in that thing. But hopefully, I can use some of the drone footage I've got, some of the other stuff I've shot along its way, and make it somewhat interesting for folks to introduce them to the series in a little small bite and get them to start watching the larger stuff. So yeah, it's that in addition to the Seeking the Signer series that's slowly starting to pre-production's picking up speed. It's going to be a busy summer. Just might not be as busy the high pointing summer as it has been. Um, like last year. Last year was crazy. Um, Other things you can expect coming down the road. Michigan, I still have to retool, take all that footage, and put that one out. So you'll probably see that one coming out around May, maybe June. I still got series in the can to finish getting done and wrapped. Do you have an update to your peak per year list? Oh man. Um, I'm so for the 10 years, I'm at 4 a year, I think, is my average. Um, I think it could have been faster if I didn't go back and redo 20 of them, or even, now consistently going back some to my second, third, even fourth visits. So, but yeah, so I'm sitting at 40 state high points, and the two territories or the two eastern territories, let's call them. So, and then DC. So, yeah, I've got 13 left. I figure if in my ideal world, um, if I walked away with 5 this year, that would be a huge win. But most likely, I'll call 3 a win, and 4 will be a great year. Um, and we'll just see and just keep on plowing them, knocking them down. I do know that I think we're going to do Hawaii next year for a family trip. So that's that will at least solve that particular conundrum of how do I get to Hawaii and not have my wife say, "Why are you not taking us to Hawaii?" So, um, oh, okay. Your remaining high points, your future schedule, reach 50. Um, I haven't really given it as much long range thought as I probably should. I find I get really focused on as things start wrapping up, I start getting focused on those 100-meter pop-ups, and just keep knocking the 50s and hundreds instead of planning further out. So yeah, it might be a good drill to sit down and figure out. Um, Stephen, are your high points allowed on Peakbag or some other site where people can see them? Actually, no. I've never really did much in the way of writing up trail reports or trip reports. Um, for me, my chronicle has always been here on YouTube. So there was a website once upon a time, rooftopsamerica.com, but I let that sort of push off. That was more of exploration. If you would have, the content you would have found on it was more of me detailing, not necessarily, once again, it wasn't a trip report per se, but more of the technical stuff that we were sort of dealing with while we were shooting, exploring some of those challenges. So it was interesting, but there was no traffic coming through it, so I didn't feel it was worth keeping that going. 5 state high points I'm thinking of right now: Maine, New York. That takes care of everything in the east. Whitney, if we get through the lottery. Idaho, and the fifth one would have been Hood. So now it's sort of sitting out there of Montana was the other one doing Granite. So, but that's up in the air. Next year could be a pretty aggressive year. So I'll be happy if I can get New York and Maine, Bora, or Whitney. If I can get all 4 of them, that's awesome. That's a big, awesome year. So, and then next year would be Hawaii. Get that one out of the way. And then consider Hood, Granite, and if I walked out with those 3, that would be a great year, because there's so much that has to go into the production of those. And then it's the final push, really. So, and the final push is, of course, Wyoming, Rainier, Mexico, and Alaska. Though there might be a detour to way out in the west or east, if you really want to get specific about it. Go way, way, way east and pick up the Northern Marianas and Guam, and somehow do American Samoa. So yeah, I'm trying not to put off Denali too long. I know I'm not getting any younger. That is true. So let's see, David, I'm supposed to go back to Black Mesa in Oklahoma and try to see Downtrust. I wasn't able to do that. Yeah, that would be all. So if you're at that nature reserve, it's on the other side. Really cool. It's definitely really cool. Definitely worth checking out. I like Black Mesa a lot. That was a cool high point. The whole time I was hiking that high point, even though it was raining, is all I could think about is what a great place to film a Western. So thinking about Red Dead Redemption 2 the whole time I'm there. So I love astronomy. I'm really looking forward to Hawaii. Yeah, so am I. I've seen some folks leave comments. They were recently up there, and from a production standpoint, my ideal Hawaii adventure would be to get up there and it would be snow-capped. Because I feel like that would be such a I don't know if it's even in the realm of possibility, but it would be such a I'm not challenged, but there's a specific word for it. It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it. But it's not what people expect to see in Hawaii, snow-capped mountains. So um, it would be fun. My first GoPro experience on Mount Washington was very successful. I'll be using it on future hikes. I'm telling you, man, the GoPro is awesome. I do love it. I really do. Terrible use. I honestly do not know if I have it in me to do Denali. 3 weeks, brutal cold, and no showering or beer pubs. I think I've been in worse, but it has been a long time. So, Denali is one of these things where it's so out of the entire American state high pointing experience. It's like it's such a outlier. Like that makes it. I mean, I can understand why people do 49 forever. Because when you're looking at them, you could make an easy case that Wyoming and Rainier, are going to be the two toughest ones you might face you could probably put in a good case for Granite. But these are going to be the big ones, the challenging ones, but there's nothing like it. There's nothing like Denali. It's clearly its own thing. Denali's the kind of peak that when I start prepping for it, is where I need to get a trainer. I don't think I have enough discipline to get myself prepared for it on my own. I will need to hire a trainer and just, lean into it. The cold is just brutal. Yeah. But then again, the funny thing about the cold is you can replicate that in some places here. You can replicate it on Mount Washington. In fact, many climbers do replicate, do shakedowns of sorts for Denali on Mount Washington in the winter because it's such a brutal beast. And it's the beast of the East. So I recommend going up and doing a training trip in Alaska range. That's a great idea. I'll put that on the list. That's a really good idea. Yeah, because I don't want to go into when we do Alaska. I want to do it. It's not going to be no victory lap, but I want to be successful in it, and I want to be able to produce some good content. And Stephen, that's a great idea. Just being able to do that training trip and figure things out, because the production side of things. How am I going to capture film? How am I going to how do you do how are we going to be able to produce this and make it worthwhile with all the other stuff that's going to go on? So thanks for those recommendations. I appreciate that. Eric, be rolling lots of. Hey, Eric, nice of you to be here tonight. Great to see you. Be rolling lots of voiceover. That is true. We can fake it all except for the summit shot. So movie magic the whole way down except for the summit shot. So, but yeah, it's the original goal was I wanted to hit Alaska at 50. And well, I'm going to be 49 this May. I don't think Alaska at 50 is going to happen, but Alaska at 52 could. Just climb Mount Washington in the winter, ascent and say it's Denali. Were you familiar with, I'm pretty sure you can look it up, but there was a scandal of sorts of people saying they climbed Mount Everest and then basically photoshopping themselves into summit photos, and then claiming the glory. I'm pretty sure you can find some articles on this. It's pretty wild, but I'm going to suffer. I feel that if we, I feel this series has gone on and has been such part of my life that, Alaska is going to be one of these things that no matter what the result, it's going to be memorable. And, being able to tell that story is going to be a highlight. Now with Magic AI video, who knows? That's true. Um, huge discussion top of the mountaineering community a couple years ago. Yeah. One of the things that's actually one of the things that I'm always been really keen on is it's the guiding rule on Rooftops of America is we can do a lot of movie magic and things, but we always have to have that summit shot. That is literally the most critical piece of every single episode is being at the summit. Whether that's Summit Seabright Azimuth or it's, you know, Boundary Peak, Guadalupe Peak, but that's important. And yeah, I don't. I want to earn my stuff. I want to earn it hard. Uh, no, no. Strava track or similar required as proof. Photos not accepted. That's amazing. That's pretty wild. That is pretty wild. Though I will say the Strava track for Ebright Azimuth would be pretty funny. Eric, I thought we agreed to never talk about Boundary ever again. Well, you and I, but for the audience here, Eric, I have to tell you, I brought up Boundary in the podcast I just recorded on Friday night with Lauren as one of the more challenging experiences. What remaining peaks do you fear the most? Fear? I don't know if fear is the right word. Um, the ones that keep me up at night that I think about and how I tackle them from a production angle is Rainier. But I feel with Rainier, I can learn a lot on Hood. Like Hood is the teaching area for Rainier. Whitney, because it's long, it's a big day. And the fact is, doing Whitney is going to require 3 to 4 days of filming. Because if we're going to pick up Death Valley, that's shoot, and climb a mountain. So that thing in general. After Utah, I'm feeling much more stable about something like Granite, hiking in, camping, summiting, all that. We've done a version of it. Yes, Utah's a lot tamer than Granite, but it's, we've sort of did the shakedown on that. Northern Marianas keeps me up because that's, well, remarkably sort of like Denali. You're committing yourself to 3 weeks of stuff. Just getting out there, just getting to Guam, then to Saipan, then to Agrahan, then through the jungle. Yes, it's not nearly as crazy as, going 20,000 plus feet, but, going up through the jungle in the middle of the Pacific Ocean all by your lonesome. It wouldn't be all by my lonesome, but you're sort of committed. So, yeah, so, yeah, trepidation's a good word, I guess. It will be, there's none of them are easy. Like, I'm at the point now where I can look at the entire list, and this includes New York and Maine, and you can make a statement that there are no easy days left. There are no easy days left. There's no just driving, showing up, and getting out. Um, they're all going to take a commitment of some sort. So, um, but this is where that mentality of mine that I inherited I think in the Marines, or even before that from the farm. You know, some days you wake up and it's raining. You still got to do the work. Um, you can't. So just lean in and get the job done. So it will be. It's going to be really interesting to see how it all goes. Um, so yeah, we'll see how it all goes. You all get a front row seat with it too. Terrible news. I'm rooting for you, whether or not you get up to San Antonio. Yeah, I believe that is truly the case. Whitney is easy, longer, but super simple to hike. You got that one easy. It's like a long hump with gear. And Eric, since you'll probably be there with me, I appreciate that. And because you have suffered with me, Jess, I would honestly do Death Valley separate from Whitney. Come out this spring if you have a few days. I can help with flights. Oh, thank you very much. That would be most appreciated. I will. I may very well take you up on that offer. And see if we can figure something out. So it is 9:11. So I pretty much need to focus on finishing this beer over there. I really want to say thanks to everybody for stopping in tonight. It was great to see y'all. And like I said, this week, um, check out Lauren Toner's Trail Talks podcast. I believe my episode's supposed to go up on Wednesday. And then New Hampshire on Leap Day, February 29th. Check it out. And then I will see you guys in March in 2 weeks. Everybody have a great night. Thanks for being here. Cheers.